南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀佛。南无弥勒佛。南无弥勒佛。南无弥勒佛。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无佛菩萨。南无佛菩萨。南无佛菩萨。อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิเตติยมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิเตติยมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิเตติยมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิอาดินาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิกาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิมุสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยามจจาปมาดัตตานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ Okay, you all can now be seated and turn to page 3 of the chanting book. We shall continue the puja chanting. Page 3 is the Padipa puja. Okay. Padipa puja, offerings of light. Ganna sarapaditena dipena tamadang sina Tiloka dipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonudhang ganda sambara yutena topena hang sukhang hina pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana muttamang Vanna Ganda Guno Petang Etang Kusuma Santatin Pujayami Munindasa Siri Pada Sarorohe Pujemi Butang Kusumena Nena Punnena Matena Cha Hotu Mokang Pupang Milayati Yata Idang Me Kayo Tata Yati Vinasa Bhavang Adivase tu no bante paniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patikan hatu mutamang adivase tu no bante pale parikapitang anukampang upadaya patikan hatu mutamang Adivase tu no bante bojanang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patikan hatu mutamang. Now we shall chant the puja aspirations based on our understanding of the significance of all these puja offerings. Significance of offering of light. May this offering of light to the Buddha brings forth the causes and conditions to illuminate our mind and help arise the needed clarity and understanding to dispel all darkness or ignorance therein. Significance of offering of water. May this offering of pure, clear, cool water lead us to the pure, clear Dhamma that cools of defilements within our mind. Significance of offering of incense. May our morality, virtue, and understanding shine forth far and wide, just like the fragrance of this incense which we are offering to the Blessed One, who is perfect in wisdom and virtue. Significance of offering of fruits. May this offering of the fruits remind us of the Dana Parami of generosity and the fruits of all karma, so that we will diligently strive on with heedfulness to attain the path and fruition as soon as possible. Significance of offering of flowers. May this constant offering of flowers to the Blessed One strengthen our faith and constantly remind us of the impermanence of this body. We will diligently and sincerely strive on to cultivate Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, leading to ultimate liberation, the born-free Nibbana. Making of overall aspiration. By the power of all these merits born of these offerings, may our spiritual faculties of Sada, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya be further strengthened until they become balas and powers, sharing our transformed knowledge to all beings. May these merits be shared and transferred to all beings without exception, especially to those who have the condition and affinity to receive them. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we shall pay respect to Bhajan. Buddhang Pujayami. Dhammang Pujayami. Sanghang Pujayami. Okay, you all can be seated. We are off the light so that you all can have your half an hour of awareness-based meditation. So just relax body and mind, maintain awareness, and stabilize it. The first support is just to relax completely the form and mind. And after that, aware, maintain awareness. The third support is technically to stabilize the awareness nature, so you maintain awareness for as long as you can. Technically, it's 24 hours. Means when you are initially conscious, then later on, even when you are resting, the awareness nature can still be maintained until you are in your resting mode or sleeping mode. The body may rest, but the mind is still aware. So initially, while under training, you can do it, will be very good. But that phase will come to pass too. So when you have done it, stabilize it, and you know it can be done, it's already sufficient. You can move on. Okay. Then the last support is trust. Trust means trust your nature to do. No more thought process, no more verbalization, no more using the thought to develop the delusion to meditate and all those things. Means you are completely silent and just aware. Stay at the heart area. Then let your awareness nature detect the gateway so that all of the yin-yang energy that you have developed externally can actually go through the gateway to be like an outlet to develop into pure energy as it go through the gateway, to develop the internal movement. The internal movement is the movement within your nature, and that one that can only be done when the mind is completely silent and just aware, no thought involved. If your stability or awareness is not there, the fourth support cannot arise. And basically the fourth support you need not do so early for most people, unless you have already stabilized the first three support, especially the third support, stability of sati. When you have done it, then only you should try to develop the fourth support. Otherwise, never mind. Continue with the three support is good enough. Then develop your daily mindfulness until the daily mindfulness stabilize, until your spiritual faculty become like very, very stable. Then until it reach the state of balance, or what they call spiritual powers, means the spiritual faculty has become unshakable. During that time, you can try the fourth support, whereby then sati is like automatic. The stability of sati to samadhi will be there all the time with you. Because by then your daily mindfulness, you can be ever mindful, constantly meditative, means heedful in the midst of life. So you can do that, means you have developed stability and you can move on to the fourth support. Okay. Otherwise, stabilize the awareness nature, stay at step 3 and move on to stabilize your daily mindfulness. Then cultivate sati sampajana until very, very stable. Okay, you can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation and turn to page 6 of the chanting book. We shall do the invocation to the devas. Invocation to the devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samantha Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Muni Rajasa Sunantu Sakamokadang Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Iti Beso Bhagava Arahang Sama Sambuddho Vijacharana Sampano Sukhato Lokavidu Anotaro Purisa Dhammasarti Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanaiko Pachiatang Editapo Nohiti Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyaya Patipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samichi Patipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaneyo Anotarang Punyam Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you all can be seated, and we shall continue from where we stop. On the hard copy, we are at page 364. We go to the Sutra part. At that time, the world-honored one arose serenely from Samadhi and told Sariputta, the wisdom of all Buddha is extremely profound and unlimited. Oh, this one we have finished. Never mind, I just read through it. The gateway to this wisdom is difficult to understand and difficult to enter. It cannot be known by any of the sound hearer or Pacceka Buddhas. What is the reason? The Buddha had in the past drawn near to countless hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of millions of Buddha, exhaustively practicing the unlimited Dhamma of the way of those Buddha. They are forging ahead with courage and vigor, and their names are known everywhere. Okay, we move on. The previous prose and verse section For an introduction to the sutra, setting forth the sutra's causes and condition. Now that the causes and condition have been related, we will proceed to explain the second chapter, which is called chapter 2, expedient device. Actually, we have covered this, but never mind, we go through again. A device is a method or a skillful means, and expedient means effective. This type of skillful means is a provisional Dharma, not a real one. It is a provisional device designed for temporary use. Real means that it is forever unchanging, forever stable or usable. However, if you begin by speaking the unchanging, the real Dhamma, no one can understand it. That is why the Buddha in the 10th direction artfully set forth expedient Dhammadal and bestow the provision or provisional for the sake of the real. Later, they open the provisional to reveal the real. Bestowing the provisional for the sake of the real means that for the sake of realizing Buddhahood, the sound hearer and Pacceka Buddha vehicle are taught. After that, the Bodhisattva vehicle is taught. The ultimate destination, however, is the Buddha vehicle. The Buddha vehicle is real. The sound hearer and Pacceka Buddha vehicles are provisional, taught for the sake of realizing Buddhahood. So this one is sainthood way, yeah? Sound hearer and Pacceka Buddha. They are the first 4 stages of sainthood leading to the realization of Arahantship. That's why here is mentioned. These are the Theravada tradition teaching or small vehicle teaching. So these are the Dhamma taught provisionally to the small vehicle or Theravada tradition. Later, living beings are led to return to the great vehicle or what they call the Buddha friction, means the Mahayana vehicle or tradition. That is what is meant by bestowing the provisional for the sake of the real. Now let us consider what is meant by opening the provisional to reveal the real. At the very beginning, when the Buddha taught the sound hearer and Pacceka Buddhas, he said, the Dhammadal is the very best. It is incomparable Dhamma. Nothing can compare with it. The small vehicle people cultivated it accordingly and certified to the first, second, third, and fourth friction of sagehood or sainthood ways. They were satisfied with just a little. They thought that was what the Buddha Dhamma was all about. They did not go forward or seek it to advance further. They stopped at the transformation city. So this is the word they use. The analogy of the transformation or transformed city will be discussed when we come to chapter 7. That one is later. Those of the 2 vehicles felt that they had expended considerable energy in their cultivation, means the sound hearer and the conditioned enlightened one of Pacceka Buddhas. They have cultivated all kinds of ascetic practices in order to certify to the attainment of the sagely friction. They didn't know that there are still the Buddha way or vehicle to be realized. Above, they did not seek the Buddha way, and below, they did not teach and transform living beings. So these are sainthood way. There's the sainthood way, they only develop self-enlightenment, and they do not seek the Buddha way. They also did not teach or transform living beings. They were independent arahats or arahants. Having realized the Buddha way themselves, they paid no attention to whether other living beings realize it or not. For that reason, the Buddha began to open up the provisional teachings or provisional Dhamma. He said, the doctrine I previously explained to you were not the outmost Dhamma. Although you have certified to the sagely friction, it's not the ultimate position. You still have to return from the small and go towards the great. That's why from Theravada, or in the early day they call it Hinayana, the small vehicle, to Mahayana, the large vehicle. Or Maha means great vehicle. You must turn away the small vehicle and go towards the great vehicle. You ought to walk the Bodhisattva way or path and cultivate the 6 paramita and the 10,000 conduct, the Dhamma of the great vehicles. Thus the Buddha destroyed the provisional Dhamma by making them obsolete. Here the English word is not so appropriate. It shouldn't be obsolete because the Theravada tradition, provisional teachings are the foundation teaching, which are very important too. It should be the provisional teaching, destroy the provisional teachings. And he revealed the genuine. Ultimate teaching should be the word ultimate, not genuine. At that time, when this chapter was spoken, the world honored one, the Buddha, the one honored by gods and human, both in and beyond the world, arose serenely from Samadhi. Sakyamuni Buddha had entered Samadhi of the station of limitless principle. Now he emerged from that Samadhi, and he does so serenely, which means peacefully and with self-mastery. He wasn't like those who, when finished meditating, immediately stretch out their painful legs and backs, roll their neck, and flex their shoulder. That's not being serene. It shows a lack of good manners. Besides, serene means calm, feeling one's entire body to be comfortable. It means no pain in the leg or in the back. The Buddha arose from Samadhi, and he was just about the same as before he entered it. He didn't notice that his legs were uncomfortable. And he told Sariputta. He arose, and since no one asked him, the Buddha spoke without being requested to speak. Why did he speak to Sariputta? It was because among the assembly of sound hearers, Sariputta was foremost in wisdom. He was the most wise. Within the space of a week, Sariputta had penetrated the entire storehouse of the small vehicle Dhamma. While still inside his mother's room, Sariputta won debates with his uncle. Sariputta's uncle was the great debater. He was an excellent speaker who possessed unobstructed eloquence. However, when Sariputta's mother was pregnant with Sariputta, she borrowed Sariputta's wisdom and used it to defeat her elder brother. Sakyamuni Buddha now addressed Sariputta because he was so wise. Then Manjusri Bodhisattva, who spoke previously, is foremost in the ultimate wisdom, the real wisdom, the wisdom of the great vehicle, whereas Sariputta is foremost in the wisdom of the provisional teaching, means the wisdom of the Theravada tradition. Sakyamuni Buddha now tells Sariputta the wisdom of the Buddha, all the Buddha, is extremely profound and unlimited. That's why the word extremely profound and limitless. It is extremely profound or deep, it's bottomless. And so you cannot know how deep it is. It is unlimited because it cannot be reckoned. It is all. It is at once profound and unlimited. It's a kind of wisdom that is so high and so deep that it cannot be fathomed or known by reckoning. It cannot be known through analogy. That's what the wisdom of all the Buddha is like. then the gateway to this wisdom is difficult to understand and difficult to enter. So this is very true, not easy to locate. Since the Buddha's wisdom is extremely profound and has no limit, how can one enter it or enter into it? How can one enter the wisdom of the Buddha? The gate to the wisdom of the Buddha is hard to understand and to enter. It is not at all easy to be clear about it. It's difficult to certify to its attainment. It cannot be known by any sound hearer or Pachika Buddha. Means the assembly of sound hearer and Pachika Buddha cannot understand. Sound hearer and Pachika Buddhas belong to the provisional teachings, small vehicle. Those who are born when the Buddha is in the world and who cultivated the 12 causes and conditions are called those enlightened to condition. Those who are born when no Buddha is in the world and who cultivate on their own, seeing the flower bloom in the spring and the yellow leaf fall in the autumn, and thus awaken to the way are called Pachika Buddhas. Sound hearer cultivate the Dharma of the Four Noble Truths and certify to the various fruition. The Four Truths are the four types of the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering, its origination, its extinction, and the path that leads to its cessation. The sound hearer and Pachika Buddha are the sages of the small vehicle. Although they have certified to the fruits of sagehood, they cannot know the Buddha's wisdom. They don't understand it. What is the reason? Why can't they understand it? The Buddha had in the past drawn near to countless hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of millions of Buddha. The reason the Buddha became Buddha was because in the past they draw near to all the Buddhas. They presented them with offerings and paid them homage, exhaustively practicing the unlimited dhammas of the way of those Buddha. They cultivated the way. They studied the limitless dhamma of the way of all those millions of Buddha. They cultivate according to the Buddha Dharma. It is not known how many Dhamma they cultivated, a limitless, boundless number of them. So now we study a little bit of Dhamma and we think we know it. We read a single book on Buddhism and we think we know it all. That is to be too shameless. It is to take the Buddha Dharma too lightly. It's too simple. There are even those who have never studied Sutta. That's just to insult the audience. They are unable to benefit themselves and even less able to lecture in such a muddled fashion that the more they talk, the less people understand. Some of them explain donkey as horses, and others explain ghosts as people. They cannot explain the word ghost correctly, and they cannot even read the word people. So they go around lecturing. If you ask them a question, they might say, I never read that book, so I cannot comment on that. They may strike up a conversation with you, perhaps using line from the Zen school. They say they understand, but they really do not. And they end up telling you to go figure it out for yourself. You may wonder if those of the two vehicles did not understand the great vehicle. Then how can common people understand it now? So this one is a very good confirmation. If the two vehicles of the small vehicle means the Theravada tradition, the sainthood way cultivator also cannot understand the great vehicle's teaching or the Mahayana, then how can common people understand it? So this is pretty obvious. Those of the two vehicles went up step by step. Although we are common people, if we understand the doctrine of the great vehicle, we can immediately certify to the attainment of the fruit of the great vehicle. It's like studying. Some people begin in elementary school and work their way up through high school, and on to university. So this analogy is quite good. Others may not have been to school, but they associate with those in elementary school and high school and find their studies relatively simple. They understand them as soon as they hear them, and so they can go directly to the university to study. Although we are common people, our affinity are such that we get to hear the great vehicle Buddha Dharma in the beginning. So these are for people who has the condition to take the Bodhisattva vow and go for the great vehicle cultivation. Whereas those of the two vehicles of the Theravada tradition, their affinity was such that they did not get to hear the great vehicle until the very end, when they are about to become enlightened through the sainthood way leading to arahantship. So in the Dhamma flower assembly, means until the very end, well, the Buddha explained it in the Dhamma flower assembly. At that time, they turned away from the small vehicle and went towards the great vehicle, Buddha Dharma. Now we have an excellent chance to study the great vehicle, Buddha Dharma, and to understand it directly and quickly. They are forging ahead with courage and vigor, and their names are known everywhere. This is where we stop. So we will continue from here. They are courageous. They continue to go forward, no matter how tired they were. Vigor means they did not rest because of their courage and vigor. They were well known. They were not like seekers of fame, bodhisattva, who went around seeking fame everywhere. They cultivate vigorously, and because they did not seek fame, fame came of itself. That is why their names were heard everywhere. Okay, we'll continue with the sutta. They have accomplished the most profound Dhamma, one which has never been before, and speak of it accordingly to what is appropriate, but its purport is difficult to understand. So this one I will read again. The sutta says they have accomplished the most profound Dhamma, one which has never been before, and speak of it according to what is appropriate, but its purport is difficult to understand. So the commentaries, they have accomplished the most profound Dhamma, one which has never been heard before. They have realized the supreme profound Dhamma. Such a Dhamma has never before existed. No one have ever obtained it before, and speak of it according to what is appropriate. They speak the Dhamma according to the being's potential. They bestow the teaching in accordance with the people being taught. They speak of the Dhamma according to the individual's capacity or need, like prescribing medicine for a specific illness. But its purport is difficult to understand. Although they speak the Dhamma in accord with what is appropriate, still the wisdom of the Buddha is extremely deep and unlimited. Its purport is not easy to understand, Sariputta. So this is explaining to Sariputta. Then we go to the sutta continues. Sariputta, from the time I realized Buddhahood, I have by means of various causes and conditions and various analogies extensively proclaimed the verbal teachings. With countless expedient devices, I have guided living beings, leading them to separate from all attachment. Why is this so? The task-come one has already perfected his expedient device, his knowledge and vision, and the paramis, or paramitas, or perfection. Sariputta, the knowledge and vision of the task-come one is vast, great, and profound, and far-reaching. He has profoundly entered without boundary the unlimited, the unobstructed, the powers, the fiercelessness, the Dhyan Samadhi, and the Samadhi of liberation, accomplishing all those Dhamma never had before. So we go to the commentaries. So the commentaries say, in the Dhamma which the Buddha spoke, the wise see wisdom, and the human see humaneness. The profound see profound, and the superficial see superficiality. It is said, the Dhamma is proclaimed with a single sound, and each gain understanding according to his kind. So this one I have explained before. You can recall. That's why you also will come to that realization like many other Kayamitas who has gone through. Even though I started sharing with you all officially in the year 2004, until now is almost 18 years. All the teaching is basically the same. The same. But what is happening is, because it's taught from that level of understanding down. So how much you can understand or receive depend on your capacity at that time. That's why initially I realized hardly anybody can truly understand what I share. And I even mentioned, whoever who can understand 10% of what I share at that time, he's already very, very special and very good. That's why finally I rebut my sharing. Initially I thought what they need is the Dhamma, the teaching. But later on I realized they haven't even had the basic understanding of the basic essential Dhamma and the basic teachings of the Buddha. That's why I revert back to all the essential Dhamma and started from scratch, from zero base, to introduce the teaching. Although it started at that level, but all the sharing that I delivered is meant for people of all levels. That's why I say you can come from all tradition, all level, no matter what level, unless that being's level is higher than what I have developed in the past, then of course he can understand higher one. But unless you have that capacity, then what I share, whatever level you are at, you can also comprehend and receive them accordingly. So this is exactly repeated in the sutta. We go back to the sutta. I read to you one small time so that you all can understand. In the Dhamma which the Buddha spoke, the wise receive wisdom, and the human receive just the humanness of that part. The profound will realize the profundity, and the superficial will only realize the superficiality. It is said that Dhamma is proclaimed with a single sound, but each gain understanding according to his kind or his capacity to understand. So it is like, although the Buddha spoke Dhamma with a single word or single sound, all living beings understood it. The human understood it, the spirit understood it too. The ghost, the bodhisattva, the sound hearer, the conditioned enlightened one, and all understood it. But each understood the doctrine on his own terms, and none understood it completely. That is why the text says its purport is difficult to understand, means the complete understanding is difficult to understand. Some of them may have understood one aspect of its meaning, but not two aspects. Some may have understood two aspects, but not three. The Buddha spoke a single doctrine, but it includes all of existence. Sariputta, Sakyamuni Buddha called out again from the time I realized Buddhahood. Meaning, what time was that? It was one night when he was sitting beneath the Bodhi tree. He looked up, saw the bright star, and was enlightened to the way. From that time until the present, I have, by means of various kinds of causes and conditions, I have used meaning I have used various kinds of skillful means based on causes and conditions, not just one kind, but many different kinds. And various analogy, meaning I have also used a limitless or countless number of analogy to explain the Buddha Dharma. Extensively proclaim the verbal teaching, meaning extensively here means broadly. Proclaim means he expounded or proclaimed and elaborated upon the principles. The verbal teaching means that the Buddha went everywhere proclaiming or lecturing on the sutta and speaking the Dhamma. Where at that time there was no writing, no words, no recording, nothing. It was just spoken, verbal. With countless expedient devices, meaning it's not known how many expedient devices were used to teach and transform living beings. It is said, with good and clever expedients, devices, he saved living beings. He turned the dust of the world into the Buddha's work. The Buddha uses ingenious methods to save all living beings. Ordinary things are turned into the Buddha's work. While in the dust of the world, one cultivates and transcends the dust. So this one is just an analogy. Then the sutta says, I have guided living beings, leading them to separate from all attachment. The meaning is, I have used many expedient devices to guide living beings. Guide here means to induce. In Confucianism, they say, in an orderly fashion, one well induces. If you want to be a teacher, you must have a method to teach a student. If you have no method, the student will run away from you. They will be afraid of you. If you have a method, then this student will want to study with you, and that student will want to study with you. All of them will like to study under you. If you have no teaching plan, however, they will sign up for your course today and drop out tomorrow. The teacher who knows how to teach can bring in students from long distance and may have hundreds of students sign up for their classes. Other teachers may have less skill, may start out with 100, and the following day 80 will be left, and the next day 60 will remain, and on the fourth day maybe only 40. By the 8th day, they will be totally alone. They may want to teach, but no one wants to learn from them. Why not? Because they do not know how to teach. If they did, they would say, work hard. I'm going to give you a test. So you should pay special attention. If you are not lazy, I will pass you whether or not your grade are good. I will give you a B or maybe an A. But no one will get a C. If you do not study well, however, you won't even get a D. Hearing this, the student think, he will certainly give me a B or an A. So they work hard. The Buddha Dharma works the same way. The Buddha is a good teacher. He uses all manners of Dharma door, saying, study the Four Truths, means the Four Noble Truths. You study them, you can certify to the sage fruits, to the list of, to the first fruit of Arhanship, second, third, and even the fourth fruit, which is Arhanship itself. You cultivate the Dhamma of the 12 conditions and causes, means the 12 links of Paticca you can certify to the position of conditioned enlightened one. After that, he turns them from the small towards the great and tell them, in the future, you can all become Buddhas. But first, you have to cultivate the Bodhisattva way. You must first cultivate the 6 perfections and the 10,000 conducts. When those of the 2 vehicles hear this, they think, so there was the Bodhisattva vehicle all the time. And they set the small vehicle aside to cultivate the great vehicle, Dhamma. If the Buddha has started out saying, you should cultivate the great vehicle, Dhamma, and not first taught them the lesser vehicle, they would have thought, in the great vehicle, you are supposed to give. How can I give my things away? That's just not fair. I'm simply not going to do it. If someone has just begun to study the Dhamma and not yet obtained the slightest advantage, you cannot tell them that they have to give the moment they walk into the door. For example, if someone comes to listen to the lecture and you start talking to him before they have even crossed the threshold, saying, do you want to listen to the Dhamma? You have to pay $100. They are going to think, oh, what's this all about? $100? And off they go. They do not get to hear the sutta lecture. They do not give $100. And you do not get any offerings. Sometimes this type of thing may not apply to present-day society. Present-day society, if you don't charge, you give free, people don't want to come. You know why? Because they say it cannot be useful because we got free one. It's so easy to get, then no need to pay some more. So when you don't charge, you don't give value, people are not interested. It's just like fashion, branded item and all those things. So when you start to charge extraordinarily, people will rush for it. Or people say, this must be good one. That's why it costs so much and everybody is paying for it. So sometimes we have to be careful. You live in a society where things has become different. In the past, maybe it's true. Initially, like they may have to come up with skillful means to attract people. Like now, even the modern day scam technique and all those things. Even some of these motivational courses, theory, investment, or whatever, they try to attract you to register with them for a free introductory session. Then they go by the what they call probability. If let's say 100 or 500 or 1,000 attend, then if they can get 5% to commit and pay for the remaining courses and what they call seminars, they already achieve what they want. Then some, they have very much higher success rate because they are very eloquent or very convincing type of speakers. Because they understand the human weakness and need. When you are eloquent and you have the understanding, what they will do is they know human being has this greed. That's why you can fall for it. But please don't get me wrong. There are some seminars and classes which are quite useful. Maybe to people at that level, they find it useful. That's why some people are willing to pay. pay a lot of money to learn certain thing. But you have to understand one thing. Yeah? That's why they always say there is no such thing as a free lunch. Yeah? Means when it is given free, normally it doesn't have much value, or is an attempt to scam people or to get you interested in all those things. But when it comes to Buddha Dharma, you have to be careful. It's always the opposite. Because for you to put a value onto the truth or the teaching means you actually do not understand the value of truth or that type of teaching that can lead to enlightenment, because it is beyond monetary value. It's priceless. That's why the Buddha, when he teach and share, he never charge. He never charge. He just share. Then later on, because of the way the teaching is being taught, when you understand through your own understanding the faith, you voluntarily perform all those deeds of generosity, to support the sasana, to support the sangha, to support the activity, so that we can actually support the dispensation of the sasana. And all this has its usefulness, because development of virtue, especially the dana parami, is very important. Because without dana parami, you cannot start. You need dana parami. Why? Because without dana parami, you cannot receive wealth. You cannot receive what they call the fruition of your generous act. So if a person comes to this world, even as a human being or ordinary living being, you don't have the dana parami to support you, most of the time you will find yourself in situations which are not conducive for you to receive the teaching, or even find time to cultivate. The reason being, without dana parami, most people are caught in the poverty cycle, the vicious cycle. So this poverty cycle will trap you. Means the basic need, following Maslow's what they call need hierarchy, means the basic need of food and shelter also you couldn't afford. So you have to go all out to look for food and shelter, to at least make yourself comfortable before you can seek your higher need hierarchy. That's why Maslow's need hierarchy is very beautiful, the way it was taught. Because as an engineering student, we study that Maslow need hierarchy, which was very good. I find it very useful, very good. Then once you have the basic need taken care of, which is basically food and shelter, then only you talk about job security. Then only you talk about higher paid job. Then only you talk about self-esteem, dignity, title, and all those things. Then we progress from a lower need to a higher need, to a higher need, until your ambition is fulfilled. But these are mainly worldly, the worldly needs. But to understand life, you have to go beyond the materialistic world. You have to develop the spiritual understanding to be free from all suffering. Because despite whatever spiritual wealth that you may realize or achieve, or even spiritual materialistic success, and without the spiritual understanding, you still have a problem. So Dana Parami is needed initially. So when you have Dana Parami, normally your life, when you come, you will be born into good family or reasonable family. Then you will be given condition to become successful. And you will have a lot of things going your way, self-sufficient every day. Then you can actually have a lot of time to study a lot of other things that is of interest to you, especially the spiritual understanding. Then when you want to go into the spiritual field, the spiritual cultivation, then to keep the precept is not an issue because you can have the means. Then to do further goodness, to help people, to help your own loved ones, even your children and all those things, you can because you have the means. But without Dana Parami, it's not easy. That's why the teaching is given in such a way. The Buddha said, you need these three things: Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. So these three like flow from one to another. With Dana Parami, you have the condition to actually cultivate the spiritual teaching. That's why you can keep your precepts. You can go into Sila training. Then you can spend more time going for meditation classes, retreat, or even decide to renounce and become a monk or whatever. Or you can go full-time cultivating, because financial support will be there because of your Dana Parami. So Dana, Sila, Bhavana. So Bhavana is a meditative training, and Bhavana you can break it up into another two. That's why you always hear people say Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So Sila, Samadhi, and Panya means Samadhi and Panya you combine together is Bhavana. And Samadhi is sati and stability of it leading to Samadhi. Samadhi is the unwavering mind, collected and unwavering. So this mind is very, very collected, unwavering. It can see things as they are. It can insight into phenomena because it has clarity. And at the moment of sense experience, it does not stir, it does not waver. That's why it is called the mind that is in Samadhi. Collected, unwavering. Unwavering means it does not stir at the moment of sense experience. So now you understand, you need causes and condition. So Dana Parami is one of them. So if you find people charge, is a very good indication. Most of the time, if it's talking about money or dollar and cent, then you better use your own understanding to confirm whether this is useful to you or not. Otherwise, the truth can be received without cost. Actually, it's free. Most of these cultivators on the way who has the Dhamma or the understanding, when they teach, when they share, they don't charge. They don't charge. So what is commonly practiced within the present day, maybe Buddhist fraternity, you can see around most of the lectures, they are given free. Even Dhamma books, they are printed for free distribution most of the time. But some, you got no choice. Because if you go through Amazon.com, they need you to put a price, minimum publish. Then sometimes for certain organizations which are very established, they need to print quality Dhamma books. Then they want to sell because like certain tradition, because they have this very good policy. Although they receive donation from public, but they say this donation is for all the essential Dharma activity and humanitarian activity. But they cannot use that offering or donation to actually support themselves. So they have this principle. To support themselves, they will come out with activity that allow them to channel the profit that they receive, like selling some of this book or what that authored by her, the abbot and other things. And also you go to the 经师以 or 经师炫 is it 经师炫 Hsuan, where they sell a lot of other things too, souvenir and sometimes certain type of useful things. Then they also have their own project to support themselves, like recycling and all those things. So these are the things that can happen. And when you see that, you should actually rejoice and support them because they really have principles, good principles which they understand and they use it. That's why when I heard about all those things in the early days, I rejoice. Even let's say you are a doctor, you volunteer to help them. Let's say there is a disaster somewhere in the world. Then they will ask the Tzu member or voluntary people, professional or whatever you can do to help. You volunteer. But they don't pay for your air ticket. Your transport to go there, they don't pay. You have to find your own because they don't want to use the donation fund to fund all these things. The donation fund that is for that specific thing is channeled towards that. So I find it very useful because I was approached by some kilometers who told me about one of the doctors in UH, I remember, which she used to be a UH staff. It's a relative, I want to support this doctor. He's very kind. He wants to go to this somewhere. I forgot which country, really, very remote one. There was some nature's disaster and she wants to volunteer. But Tzuchi's policy is you have to pay for your own transport. So I said, no problem. I remember the two of us, we funded the air ticket. Then whatever that is needed to we pay. So these are the things that you will come to understand. So do not like be too eager to comment. Oh, but they'll say most of the time is free one. How come this one charge? Please don't get me into trouble by saying all those things. You should actually look at it with an open mind, because different organizations do things differently. Even if they charge, they must have their own reason behind. So as a what they call a public person, you have to use your own understanding and wisdom to understand all this and not to get yourself entangled. Okay, we go back. I had to stop already. Almost 9:45 already. Okay. So I read that part again. But after they have heard the sutta lectures for a while, they will come to understand that in order to practice the Bodhisattva way, it's necessary to give. Then they may give 1,000 or even 10,000, a lot more than the original 100. When they understand, they will give. you tell them to give before they understand the principle, it will be harder for them than cutting off a piece of their flesh. This is very true. So here, Shenhua put it in a very appropriate way. Even if it's very obvious that they should give, they just cannot. You cannot just tell them to give when they do not understand the Buddha Dharma. So this one is very true. It has to be something voluntary, based on their own understanding. You give based on your understanding. But for me, I don't want people to offer or give, because a lot of these things has to be very natural. If you really want to, then I say the best is you make offering to Kayamita Fund. Then we help you to actually develop more wholesomeness, because you can become part of the Kayamita when you donate to the Kayamita Fund. So that fund is the only one that I really allow only Kayamitas who have the causes and conditions to actually contribute. Then apart from that, you can, of course, you feel like buying dana for Kayamita or treat people or what, that one is separate. Then like you come to Tuesday class, Thursday class, or whatever class, then you buy flower you want to offer, you buy garland you want to offer to Triple Gem, it's okay. Then you want to make offering to Triple Gem like fruits or whatever, then after that we can maybe together have some sharing of the food towards the end of our classes, like our usual Tuesday and Thursday class. So all these are possible. Then when there is condition for us to perform wholesomeness, like in our Kayamita WhatsApp group, we have this what they call sharing. Certain type of charitable organization or activity that we find appropriate, we will use the Kayamita fund to donate. Then it will spin off causes and conditions for other Kayamita who also want to donate on their own and partake in the wholesomeness. You can do separately. That one is go towards that particular channel, towards that particular wholesomeness. Okay, so now I summarize and I will end there. I will read on a bit more. Since the Buddha understood this Dhamma law, he first told them to study the Buddha Dhamma, the initial two vehicle, or the small vehicle of the Roda tradition, is the sainthood way, the sound hearer, and the Pachika Buddhas. Just do your own cultivation, he said. Know what suffering is, then know the cause behind suffering. Here, I think is a direct translation. 这是苦如影子，这是气如影断。So here they say cut off the cause. Then this is cessation. You have to realize it. Then no. It is Kuji Metta, but he used the first turning and the second turning. Because the second turning, he say Lu Ying Duan. That's why here the English translation is cut off the origination or the cause. So Shenhua always use that. So this is the cause. You have to cut it off, or you have to abandon it. Then the Mahayana actual teaching is accumulation. Ji, like you use the word ji, but he said you have to cut it off. Accumulation also you have to cut it off. Then the extinction you have to, actually it's not extinction, the word is wrong. The cessation of suffering, you have to realize it. Then the Noble Eightfold Path, you have to cultivate it. So cultivate that and certify to the fruits. They think about it, I don't have to do anything but cultivate. and gain accomplishment on my own. And so they cultivate according to that model. So this is the initial, what they call expedient devices, and also part and parcel of the way the teaching has been assimilated. Okay, I'll mark this page here, then we will stop there. Okay, we are at page 367. So mark this page here. Okay. So now we'll open up for meditation reporting, followed by whatever question that you may have.
Good evening.
Yeah, Stephanie.
Yeah,
good evening.
and thank you, coaching, for nominating me. But, let me see what to share.
Yeah, you got any question also you can ask, or you can share based on what we have discussed today also can, or earlier also can.
Today I'm a bit blur because this afternoon I have a very tough one rat came into my house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Let me see. Okay. Well, before I go further, I would like to share my experience in Cameron retreat.
Yeah, that is useful.
I didn't
That's very good.
Yeah,
you haven't really shared.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I go back to Cameron, it's like you get settled down very fast. It's like very
Sadhu, that's very good.
Because I think I have very good affinity with the Sampo temple.
Sadhu, that's very good.
It's one of the first place when I first visited Cameron. That was during my college day. Because I haven't been to Cameron, then I follow our Buddhist society.
Okay.
So that was my first trip to Cameron and the first venue I stayed when I went to Cameron.
Sadhu.
It was really a lot different. I remember the building was quite simple, and then
in the early days, yes.
when we use the water, the zinc, I think
there is no hot water
very
system.
Simple
very
in
cold.
Very cool.
It's from the mountains.
Then
the stream, they pump direct from the stream.
So I say, this is I don't know what you call a very good affinity with the place.
Yeah. Even the meditation hall, they extended.
Yes.
Last time was only
when
half.
you go there, you just get settled down very fast.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I really thank the Padmasuri for doing all the hard work and all the
for organizing. And also the committee, Hsuan Liao.
Even got all these what you call in between the COVID case, but I generally I find I'm able to cope with every situation.
No problem. Sadhu. Very good.
Just let the thing unfold and be accord and flow.
Correct. No need to worry too much or panic. Like you say, you leave it to them. Whatever decision is okay for you, because for you no different because you have contacted it before. So you have some natural antibodies.
Because one of the reasons I live is because we go together, so we get the same transport. So that's why. Together. And also, I think Brother Srian also make the right move.
Because he based on risk management, so he want to manage risk. Because we also don't know how it will turn out. But what the temple want to understand is very good. We are based on the Patan Sifu's final days response. We also understand that he has the good understanding. He want to try out with a small group. Then he realized that the whatever even positive case, the effect is very mild, much more mild and not serious. And it's not like going to spread and become out of control, that they have to do a lot of things. But everything turned out well, and they have gone through one, so that's why now they are more confident to have more and more of such retreat, because basically I think the government also has actually explained quite well, because this type of virus, that's why they know from pandemic it will become endemic, then slowly like no more an issue, because you can live with it, like common flu. Because they had the experience.
My own experience, I also have it where in June.
Yeah. And most people recovered after a while. Only some with complication because of other complication or whatever. Then they are affected quite badly, especially those who have severe respiratory problem. But lately, it hardly any. Most of them who actually succumb to it are those with already other type of sickness or problem, or they call multiple mobility, comorbidity, I don't know what.
So now actually it's just like a flu only when you got it.
Yeah, no, it's more mild than the flu.
You just take care of the symptom.
The probability of it dying, those who die of flu is so much higher than those who die of COVID now. The probability has become like that. Actually, the normal flu is more dangerous, but people don't know. But because we all take so much precaution, follow SOP, now I see even restaurant owner, coffee shop, the worker, all they are still masks. Only the people who go there and eat, they arrive. Some don't wear already, but most of them still wear. Then when they reach there, when the drinks are served, the food are served, then they take off the mask. This I think is good practice. Then I go to the mall, I still see people maintaining the mask when they walk around, unless they sit down somewhere to have a drink or have food or whatever. So as the endemic phase kick in, which we have gone through for the last few months, I think the statistics show that it has dropped. And like I said, the virus, when they become more and more strong in what you call that, spreading, when they can spread very fast, their potency to cause severe sickness and disease also drop. That's why that is the characteristic. So because of that, now you will see the they call it what the
variant.
No, the way they mutate, the virus mutate. You call it. There's a word for it. The way they mutate now, the new mutated, they got different name for it. They are more mild or asymptomatic or very mild symptom. Then the percentage of those who get category 3 and 4 very low now, less than 0.5%. So all this, they are actually showing the right statistics and giving people the confidence. That's why the ministry or like certain country, even US, they say no more the vaccine, or they say can no need to have the vaccine ready. So now they have decided COVID-19 is no more issue or anything that you should worry about. So many countries start to adopt this. Even the flight industry, they are open up. And a lot of this country, I think, they are reviewing their SOP to actually simplify the procedure.
Yeah, for those enclosed area, we need to be more.
No, all those relax already. Now even the vaccination requirement also relax already. A lot of countries you can fly without vaccination certificate already.
Brother Teo, I just got a friend because he need to fly to overseas. The daughter is, I think, giving birth, so him the wife going. So he took a second booster just to share with Kalamita, and he find it very bad. He said he feel very, very tired and the heart congestion.
There has been a lot of this type of sharing going on earlier on. That's why most of the Kahyamita we didn't take. I also didn't take, my whole family didn't take the second booster because the second booster is optional. It's not a requirement.
Yeah.
But people who don't understand, because this type of what they call mRNA or don't know what type of vaccine, it's not good to have too many shots. It's not like taking multivitamins.
And also, I don't know why they want to enforce to the school children.
It's nobody enforced.
The school children?
Nobody enforced. The second booster is not necessary. My son has traveled to Europe also, then UK recently. Haven't come back yet, I think. End of the week only coming back.
After, when they introduce it to the school, no?
That one is up to the family to decide. It's not compulsory. Now they lower the age and want to introduce vaccine for below 5, but it's not compulsory.
It's the parents who.
They all, a lot of them, they very worried because sometimes they say we above 60, we high risk category. You better go and have it, otherwise when you get it. But now the situation has reversed. Understand?
I didn't even take the booster. I only took 2 jabs.
So when you understand, you don't have to go through it anymore. So it's a matter of understanding. So whatever it is, like you mentioned, the retreat actually helped a lot of people to understand,
especially
the temple people.
They are very helpful and everything so conducive. Really grateful.
Then it turned out to be blessing in disguise. That's why everything fall back into place. Fazan Sifu also know. After you all went back, you all can still follow using the Zoom. We thank them because the Zoom was very good. The internet speed was very good. So the temple also now appreciate that they have actually
tested out on that.
No, they apply for the internet. The ground floor and the first floor, they have 2. They subscribe for both, which is very good. And this will make it very conducive. Then even earlier on, before they go back, or you and Hsuan and Engbi, the 3 of you all were still with us when we take the Bodhisattva vow and all those things. So no problem. That's why Fazan Sifu no is not an issue. So all this is something that we learn as we go through. That's why the temple also want to learn. They want to try it out. So these are people who have the understanding and willing to give us a chance. And at the same time, of course, we also help them by following whatever SOP that they have introduced. Then we get Dr. J to help us, to give us advice. Then from there, we report to them too. Then from all this sharing of information, they develop understanding. Then they say they now are more confident to hold all these things because of the understanding. Very good. So anything else, Stephanie?
So when during the retreat, I really enjoy all the situation. Even the rain is so beautiful. Rain, the nature, everything blend in so well.
You can experience them, Very good.
And in the morning, I don't go down to the hall, but you meditate up there. You know, you can feel when they chant the Surangama Sutta, their beats. It really synchronized with the
the chanting and all those things. Yes.
Everything so beautiful.
Yeah. And the nature's vibration. A lot of nature's vibration, the insect sound and all those
you
things.
can really
The
hear
flowing
the
stream.
blend in with all the whatever activity there, the chanting.
Yeah. In fact, within nature itself, there's a lot of vibration, the flowing stream,
the vibration,
the insect sound and all those things. Then there were a lot of also man-made sound when the Tao, you know, thing. So you can actually hear them. Then as you go through the night, you hear different vibration. Then there were a few nights, I think, outside the town there. I don't know how many of you heard it. Middle of the night, the dogs were howling. Then I said metta because the dog quite far away. I think in the city, the Brinjang city outside. I heard the howling, and I knew the dog saw something. So we sent metta. We send and we share merits and we transfer merits. So all these are useful.
We were very lucky. So the day we came down, there's no rain. The weather so fine. We reached home so early.
Yeah, after you all left, after you all left.
Rain.
No, after you all left, that day, the next few days after 31st. After 31st, the weather, everything went back to normal like last time. That's why I also, in between, I sensed it. I told them, very strange. Everything like fall back to normal.
The day when we went out, the already sunny, no rain all the way down.
Correct, but after that, every day.
Few days also sunny. So they won't be so cold.
No, the weather become like our normal retreat again. Only the first few days you realize that first few days when we arrived on the 27th to 30th, it was raining. It was raining. Then there was something, but it's okay because it's meant to be. Then when that one no more, you all make the decision to go down. Then I think it created the condition for a lot of people to settle down. Because initially there were a lot of worry, anxiety.
Yes, I can sense it. I also said,
not only that, because when the mind starts to have this type of movement, then it will affect the totality and all those things. That's why it's meant to be a good training. So when things fall back to normalcy, is because when you all make the decision, that's why I say Hsuan make the right choice based on risk management. Then immediately when they heard you all leaving, that the next day, most of them is before 12. Then everything like become different, fall back to normalcy again. Weather, everything settled down, which was very good. That's why we learn. So in time of whatever, it can be COVID-19 or crisis or whatever, you must maintain that clear mind, the understanding, to be at peace, not to go and worry, project and all those things. In fact, a few of the Kayamita who share also, they learn, like Manyuan initially also worried, because that is the old habitual tendency, you understand? Then later on she realized, no need, because no amount of fear, worry, anxiety can actually help you or make the difference. That's why you must have faith. You must accept the reality and understand what is going on. Like I said, the virus is no longer the way it used to be. So what is there to fear, to worry and all those things? Just let things be. And radiate whatever you do, so that it can help the totality of consciousness. Then settle down. Then do what you have to do. So all these are the training of the mind to develop the understanding, to apply the Dhamma, to understand life clearly. So this particular retreat experience was very good, very, very useful, very helpful. And with today's condition, because you brought it up again, I had the opportunity to explain again. You can also listen to the recording. I shared, after you went back on many occasions, I shared. And I explained quite well to what happened and all those things. So these are the understanding that cultivator of the way can develop as understanding, so that you can, from now onward, apply all this understanding and become true cultivators of the way. Okay, yeah, Stephanie?
Yes, brother, thank you for all your Dharma, which I also understand why fear is from the egoic mind. And
yeah, because
whatever
Sakaya
happened to
Ditti,
me,
yeah.
I able to apply it even when I have COVID. I just do what I need to do. I just
because disease and sickness is
just
a
listen to the
reality.
body, what the sickness sent to me. I
And
just take
is one of the first noble true reality.
just
So
face
it
it, and then
happened
no
to
need to be
everybody,
fear.
not only
Then
you.
you have the clear mind to do what is necessary.
Yeah, you
I
have
just
to
do.
develop the understanding to move, to resolve things amicably and move.
No fear, really. I have no fear.
Yeah. That's
I
very
just
good.
do what I need to do. I just take Lian Hua, bring down the
Yeah.
temperature. Then I
Yeah, you
understand
need
my
to
body.
take the
Also have to
vitamin.
understand your form. I understand my body is
You
not
need
the
to take
heat
vitamin
nature.
C, D, or whatever you take. Then the Lianhua, Qingwen, and all those things, or whatever the Kucha or what, you just
Rest and then
drink, then have enough
relax,
rest.
meditate. That's all. That's what the
And
body needs.
you will feel better,
I
and you will
recovered
recover.
within 4 days.
Yeah.
And
So
I
good.
know why I get it also.
Yeah. You will later on be more and more sensitive, and you can understand how you
So
get it.
you don't have fear. Just do what we need to do and just treat the body, and it will recover. No need to fear. Like you said, we are just form and mind.
Yeah. Correct.
I
Very
notice
good, Sadhu.
normally when you are not well, you also have to see what is your mind condition. If you don't have fear, you recover very fast. You just
That's
listen
why
to the
you
body.
remember last time I used to remind you all. You have to check with mindfulness your mind state. Whenever you are unhappy or not peaceful, the evil roots are there. This
is a very good word for me to remember. I always remember what Brother Joe teach. I find
because
this
these
is
are
a very
very important wisdom for you to be able to detect all these evil
fear
roots.
come from the egoic mind.
Yeah. Sakaya Ditya. But whenever you are unhappy or not peaceful, means the evil roots are there, the wrong thoughts are there. Then you check, you trace the origination factor. There are things that are disturbing you. So from there, you develop the understanding to cultivate. Then you root it out. The third way and the fourth way, develop mindfulness, be with it. Then straighten your view. Then this habitual tendency, when your understanding stabilizes, you can root it out. Then it becomes like back to normal again. Then you realize this is how one can live one's life following the Dhamma way, which is applying the Noble Eightfold Path with understanding until it can become a living reality. Okay?
Thank you, Brother, for
Sadhu.
speaking Dharma. You have
Very good.
impart to us all
Anything
the
else? Anything else you want to share?
What else? Oh, today I met a neighbor in my evening walk. Just how to say it? because she is a gardener, she like the plant, so I have some problem with my plant. Then I talked to her, and later on, she told me that she lost a son during the COVID after the jab. Then normally, like all these first noble truth people would try seeking.
Yeah. The first noble true realities. They
then she is quite positive.
Make people
she went to
go through suffering.
She went and learned some. It's a different type of Chinese Yi Jing.
Oh, okay.
I say good. Anything you feel good to know. How to say, instead of thinking of your son and drove in suffering, then you do something you can uplift your mind.
Then after that, what happened?
After that, then she looked very now she is engaged in doing a lot of gardening.
Keep herself occupied with something. Then through all this, you can actually slowly come out of it. There are various ways to come out of it.
I think it's different people's affinity.
Yeah. It's okay because they can go to whatever that is familiar to them and they find it useful. Like you advise her correctly, whatever that suits you and can make you recover from your condition. It should be something applicable and useful to them. So just let things be. Unless there is condition and you have capacity to advise and to help, then you can say something. Otherwise, just let things be.
True. I just say when there is no condition, whatever thing which suits them, right?
Yeah.
Brother. Sorry. Brother. One question, sir. In all the brochure books, is the word mindfulness and awareness interchangeable?
Yeah, interchangeable. It's the same meaning. Sati, people cannot understand. That's why they think it's the usual sati or the one that they comment or interpret as noting and all those things. But sati, like I say, is awareness before the knowing. So it's awareness itself. When you are aware before you know, there is awareness, the pure awareness. The moment you know is no longer aware.
Brother, the word mindfulness is exactly same as awareness in this sense.
It is an English word, you understand?
Yes.
So sati is a Pali word, understand? So they use the English word as mindfulness, but they don't know the meaning. That's why they coin the word, which is not so appropriate. When you say mindfulness means what? That one cannot, because that one is not for this machine. That one is for the old one. Don't use that one anymore. Sorry. You understand? A Pali word has English word. The correct English word is awareness. But Buddhists, especially Theravada tradition, they are so familiar with the word sati. So you have to explain what is sati. Understand? So sati in English, of course, is mindfulness. But the word mindfulness got two words. Mind in fullness. But you never ask, full of what? Full of thought is not mindfulness. Understand? It's fully aware. That is mindfulness. Full of awareness.
Full of awareness.
Yeah, mind full of awareness is sati. Understand? So it's the same. Awareness is when you are just aware, you don't know yet. The moment you know means you perceive it already, understand? You're no longer aware. It becomes the thought because the content went in already, because you have perceived it, understand? then you are no longer aware of the Buddha Rupa, where you perceive already. So the image came out, the word came out. Because the word and the concept and the image, when they surface, it become a thought. So there is no more awareness.
Thank you.
Luckily you asked.
Yeah, because because it's very and then brother, Mr. Steele, is it mindfulness in Chinese is 正念?
Yeah, correct.
When brother is in Chinese, but 正念 is become like right intention.
No, you confuse the word nian with nian tou.
Yes.
No, it's a lot of meaning one. The 正念, that nian, the word got a lot of meaning one. It's not nian tou. Nian tou, then it become a thought, understand? 正念 is just to be aware, understand? That's why they use the word 正思维, understand? 思维 is the thought. Because mindfulness is very difficult to have an equivalent word, even in Mandarin. Mandarin, you try to ask them to coin the word awareness, it's very difficult. Very difficult. You Mandarin educator, you tell me. What is the Mandarin word?
觉知, brother.
觉知 is a knowing.
觉知 is knowing.
知道啊. It just 觉 is awakening. Understand? 觉 means you awaken to it. But awareness, there is no real Mandarin word to point to it. That's why they use the word right, nian. 正念 means sama sati. Understand? 正 is sama, sati is nian. Nian means before the knowing. You understand? Yes. Nian tou is the knowing, understand? The thought, understand? But nian is before the knowing. Means awareness before the knowing.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Just speak like that. This one facing your mouth, understand?
Because every time when I read the book, I think it's interchangeable until someone is asking these questions, then I become like shaken up. Yeah. So it's good to really.
So now you can learn from what you say, because what you say, you still not clear. That's why you end up like that. When people ask you, is it interchange? You become confused because you didn't learn the actual understanding. When you learn the actual understanding, you become very confident one. Understand? You need to ask already. Because when you are confident, you understand all these things is no more an issue. Words are just words. The understanding of it is very important. If it's sati is awareness before the knowing, that is their basis of understanding. Understand? Then use that to explain. This is what I did to explain. Why the word mindfulness? Then you check the English word, mindfulness. Full of what? You never, that's why go into it. If it's full of awareness before the knowing, then correct. Mind full of awareness is sati, which is correct. But they want an English word which they don't understand. That's why the earlier people, actually what they mean is mind in fullness, means full of sati or awareness. But they don't know what actually sati is. And the confusion comes is because some of the commentaries, the book say, sati is related to memory, which is not wrong essentially, because you know why. When you are aware, the mind that is aware can recollect, understand? You can recall through memory. When you are aware, even though you haven't perceived it, but you aware. Like I put my handphone, okay? If I'm aware, I put it somewhere on the tea table or dinner table, where I saw it through awareness, I put there. Then I can recollect. then I can tell my wife, yes, it's there, or upstairs where. But most of you all, when you are doing all this, you are not aware. That's why then you ask, where is my spec? Where is my phone? Understand? Or where is my purse and all those things? Or where is my car key? That's why you put in the same place and you maintain awareness. When you aware, you can recollect how your hand move and put the thing there without word. This one is very clear. You know why? Because you are not lost in thought. When you are lost in thought, preoccupied the thinking, how can you be aware? That's why you cannot remember. Where you put also you cannot remember. And this is how you learn all these things. Through understanding. Not through memory, knowledge. What you learned earlier is knowledge, memory. That's why you ask, is it the same, interchangeable or what? Then you become confused when people ask you. You don't know how to answer. But luckily you come here and ask. Then today, after I explain already, don't take it as a knowledge and think you know again. Go back and listen to it again and understand it clearly. Then from today onward, no more issue with this type of question. Because sati is to be understood. When you bow, just do. Well, that itself is training to be mindful, to be aware. And when the mindfulness comes, the body and mind move as one. You aware is different. Means you have become the awareness, you witness it. You know what that thing is. And then it is beyond word. Beyond that, there is no knowledge. Otherwise, it's all knowledge, understand? When you do until sati arise, the body and mind move as one without words, then you know what that thing is. Understand? But human beings need words, understand? Need terminology to express that thing. That's why I say the word is not that thing. Like the word tree is not a tree. So all this is the essence, means the direct see. When you see through awareness, you aware, that is the thing without word. That is the direct see. That is the understanding of things. When you are all the time with the awareness, you understand it clearly. You see things as they are, not what your mind tell you, your memory tell you, not all the knowledge tell you. So this is how you reverse your training to become different. Okay? So sadhu, make sure you go back and listen again and learn all this so that it become a living reality and become clear to you. Okay? Sadhu, so let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So a simple thing can become very useful. Understanding. So all this we need to really let the Kayamita understand. There are some who are slower. They will learn it in their own pace, like what the sutta just now mentioned. Different people understand it at their own level, their capacity. Not everybody is the same, so it's okay. Okay, now we shall do our sharing of merit, transfer merit, and the closing puja. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumodhitva cirang rakantu lokasasana ittavata camehi sampadan punya sampadan sape deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo dewo asatu kalena sasa sampati hetu ca pito bhavatu loko ca Raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamena Ma me bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect my plate to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we will end the whole Zoom session. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for all your participation.